Shalom Shalom family, and welcome back to Trumpet of the Eternal Gospel. You're with Brother Almial. I would love to welcome you all back to the channel again, beloved family. We are continuing on this narrow road. We are not giving up, family. We are continuing. No matter how difficult, no matter how treacherous the road is, we continue in faith. We continue in obedience. We continue walking this path in righteousness. Not because our righteousness is of our own, but because it is of our Father. We can do nothing by our own power. It is very important to always remember this, family. So I welcome you all back to the channel again, beloved family, and I thank you all for all that you are doing, the likes, the shares, everything, family, to help further the gospel of our Father to the four corners of the earth. Very important to always remember, family, as I always remind you at the beginning of every video, that this is not the gospel of Christianity. This is the everlasting gospel of the kingdom, the gospel that has been hidden or that has been taken away from us by the wicked, and they have replaced it with the gospel of the Nicolaitan, which is a false or a counterfeit gospel. So family, we are continuing on the narrow road because Emmanuel has already prophesied that many are called but few will be chosen. So let us continue and be encouraged, family. It is not an easy road, and many will think that we are not on the right path because the truth sounds very bizarre when you've been hearing lies for so long. So having said that, family, we are continuing in faith. In the previous revelation, our Father revealed something very profound in understanding the oneness of the Father and the Son in a very deep way. Understanding that Emmanuel is God or Elohim, and of the Old Testament too, he has been there from the beginning. And family, it is very important to understand that revelation in its full entirety, because going forward, it is going to be very difficult to understand further revelations. And this video too is building up to the next revelation, family, because after this video, we are finally beginning with the Bride of Messiah. This is the last video before the Bride of Messiah, family. So all the videos are going to come into one build up that is going to be building up to the Bride of Messiah, which is where we have reached now, and the man-child. But family, that is going to be a very long series to cover. So we will have breaks within the series of discussing the bride and the man-child. And to understand this series, family, you have to have a full or strong or firm foundation in the law and the prophets. Without this, you will not understand the end-time gospel at all. So having established that, family, the title of this revelation is Keeping the Shabbath, the Law and the Prophets. So this is going to help us in the final build-up, family, hopefully to understanding further revelations about this end-time gospel. So family, without any further ado, I am going to share a total of 3 visions between my mother and myself. 2 from my mother about the Shabbat and 1 from myself about the law and the prophets. So family, we start off. Let me tell you the first vision. The first vision, family, is going to help with understanding the Shabbat, because I am going to try and help you, family, in better keeping the Shabbat, so that you are not breaking the Shabbat in any way. As best as we can, we are trying to keep the Shabbat of our Father. I know a lot of us do not understand fully how to do so. So I pray that this video, through the Spirit of our Father, will help you in understanding this revelation on how to better keep the Shabbat. So family, the Shabbat is kept from Saturday. So we keep it Saturday at sunrise, and we used to keep it from Saturday sunrise to Saturday sunset. That was what we used to do, but a revelation came through my mother not too long ago with regards to the proper times of keeping the Shabbat. And here is the revelation. my mother had a vision. And in this vision, family, she was speaking to a man. And the man asked her, how many hours are in a day? And in the vision, family, my mom answered in full confidence, not understanding where it was going. And she said, there are 24 hours in a day, 24. And then the man looked at her and said, then why are you keeping the Shabbat for 12 hours? And then my mother was perplexed in the vision. She did not even know how to respond to the man. And then she woke up out of the vision, family. And when she woke up out of the vision, our brother here, family, had engato, which is when you open the scriptures on a random verse. And I'm going to show you the verse that he opened up on to further solidify this revelation. That the Shabbat, family, we need to first understand this. It is kept from Saturday sunrise to Sunday sunrise, according to the revelation of our Father. It is not 12 hours, it is a full 24 hours that the Shabbat has to be kept. When our Father is saying the Shabbat day, I know, family, in the scriptures that a day can sometimes reference to when the sun is out. But through the spirit of prophecy, our Father has corrected us so that we now understand that when he says Shabbat day, he is speaking of a full day, a 24-hour day. That's why in the revelation, the man asked my mother a simple question, how many hours are in a day? And she said 24 hours. And then the man simply asked, then why are you keeping a 12-hour Shabbat? And then our brother here, that same morning, went to my mother, opening a verse, a random verse. And it was the following verse which I'm about to show you, family. Our Father is mighty. So it is Matthew 28 verse 1. A very popular verse. Emmanuel has risen. This is after the death of our Messiah, family. And Matthew 28 1 reads, at the end of the Shabbat, as it began to dawn towards the first day of the week. Family, the first day of the week is Sunday. Came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre or the grave. So family, this is Saturday morning where the Shabbat begins, and it ends in the end of the Shabbat as it began to dawn towards the first day of the week. For those family who are not aware, dawn is before the sun rises. So this is before the sun rises on Sunday morning. This is when it is saying in the end of the Shabbat. So this is what our Father was revealing, family. The Shabbat is kept from Saturday sunrise to Sunday sunrise, to dawn on sunrise on the first day of the week. It is there in Matthew 28 1. The Shabbat ends in the end of the Shabbat as it began to dawn towards the first day of the week. Dawn of the first week is the end of the Shabbat day, beloved family. So it is there. That is why our Father came to my mother and said, why are you keeping a 12-hour Shabbat? It is a 24-hour Shabbat. It is sunrise on Saturday to sunrise on Sunday, the first day of the week, dawn. I hope this makes sense, beloved family. This is what has been revealed, and this is what we are keeping currently, beloved family. Those who have an ear to hear, they can hear. So we are keeping this Shabbat because it is through revelation our Father has instructed us and has corrected us on keeping the correct Shabbat. And on the day of the revelation on my mother, there was a second witness. The brother who we are with did not even know the revelation that my mother had, nor did I. And randomly he had opened the scripture, family, on this verse, exactly this, Matthew 28 1, to confirm the revelation of a 24-hour Shabbat, starting Saturday dawn to Saturday morning to Sunday dawn or Sunday morning, just before the sun comes up. It is a 24-hour Shabbat. I hope this all makes sense, family. So this is the first revelation about the Shabbat. It is the day itself and the hours that the Shabbat is to be kept. It is not a day as in when the sun is out. No, it is a day as in a 24-hour day. Our Father clarified. So I hope this makes sense, family. And then I will tell you the second vision which my mother had, which will help others with regards to the keeping of the Shabbat. In this vision, my mother was in an assembly, and there was another sister in the assembly. And the sister had noodles, the pre-cooked noodles that you just throw in the pot for 2 minutes and they are ready. And the sister wanted to go cook the noodles on the Shabbat. And my mother was perplexed and said, no, but you cannot do this because it is a Shabbat. You cannot kindle any fire. You are not allowed to kindle any sort of fire on the Shabbat. And then the woman said, no, that is the old dispensation. That is the old way of doing things. And my mother was very perplexed with her behavior because she should have known better. And then, as my mother was trying to further correct her family, the voice spoke in the vision and said, do not even waste your time. Time is up. She, referring to the sister in the dream, she is a listener of the word and not a doer of the word. Do not even waste your time. There is no more time. And then my mother woke up. So family, this is very powerful in understanding. Because we understand, again, you are not to kindle any sort of fire on the Shabbat. It is whether it is a stove, microwave, anything electrical. You are not to kindle it. You are supposed to prepare everything that you must eat on the day of preparation, which is Friday. On the actual Shabbat day, you are just eating what you have prepared. You cannot kindle any fire or prepare anything. Another thing the woman said is that is the old dispensation, as a lot of believers, family, we have noticed, are tweaking things about the Shabbat and saying, no, I did not kindle a fire, I turned on the microwave, or no, I did not use this, I used that. Family, there is nothing that is changed or that has changed about the commandments of our Father. It was fire then, it is electricity today. So our Father does not change. It is very important to understand this. And we need to stop to trying to find loopholes in our Father's commandments. You are not to kindle any fire or to try and prepare anything on the Shabbat day, beloved family. That's why this woman was saying, no, that is the old dispensation. That is the old way of doing things. Our Father does not change. He is the same today, tomorrow, and forever. His word does not change. What he has commanded back then, he is still commanding today. So I hope this all makes sense. So for her to say that is the old dispensation, she is trying to violate the Shabbat based on times have changed, based on we are living in the 21st century, based on we are now in the modern times. So things are different. Not understanding that our Father does not change. He is the same today, yesterday, and forever. And then, family, when my mother was trying to correct her, to tell her that no, this is not behavior that is tolerated for the Shabbat, then our Father's voice spoke and said, do not even bother to correct her, because she is not a doer of the word. She is a hearer of the word. She is those people who hear and never do what they are hearing. So it is no point trying to correct her. And family, that is very powerful for these last days. We are in the final seconds of the age. You need to be very careful on the energy that you are spending on people and those that you are trying to convert and help. There are some people, family, who are doers of the word who can be helped, and those who are just hearing the word and will never ever do anything about it. That is another warning that is in this vision. Many people are going to be shocked in the last days because they believe that the road to the kingdom is easy. You just hear and you never do. That's why they will hear depart in the last day or on the last day, because they have just heard and done nothing. It is like a student in a classroom who constantly listens to the teacher and does absolutely nothing they are told to do in the classroom. You will obviously fail, and dismally so. So I hope these revelations are helping, family, but we're going to go deeper into the Shabbat. You need to understand, family, the Shabbat is dearly important to our Father. You are not going to see the kingdom if you don't keep the Shabbat. It is salvation tied. That is something that you have to understand. It is not a choice whether you keep the Shabbat or not. It is a must. So let us continue, family. You have heard the visions that our Father has granted to my mother concerning the Shabbat. Now we will go into the law and the prophets to explain all that which has been spoken. There is one more vision I will share after we have dealt with the Shabbat, which will deal with the law and the prophets. But now we are focusing on the Shabbat. So let us go to Matthew, family, to understand further what was spoken by this woman when she said that is the old dispensation, things are changed now. Let us go to Matthew 5:17 and we'll hear our Messiah speak for himself. He says, "Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the Torah or the prophets. I am not come to destroy but to fulfill." Family, this is very powerful. This is a verse that the church has refused to acknowledge or to understand. Emmanuel did not come to change anything or to destroy the law or the prophets, but to fulfill them. So this woman saying in the vision, that is the old dispensation, as if we no longer do anything according to the Old Testament anymore. The law is done away with. Very popular words that are spoken in the churches of Satan in these modern times, who will tell you that the old law is done away with. That is the old way. We don't do that anymore. That is a satanic doctrine, family. Emmanuel did not come to do away with the law, but to fulfill it and to amplify it, actually, and to clear any misunderstandings about the law and the prophets. He is here to fulfill the law and the prophets. All the prophets and all the law are testifying about him. And we now understand from the previous revelation that Emmanuel is Adonai. But he is not the all-eternal Father. So I hope this all makes sense, family. Emmanuel did not come here to change anything. He is here to fulfill all that which was spoken by the law and the prophets. So the woman is in error in my mother's dream by saying that that is the old way of doing things. There is no old and new way of doing things, family. It is just one way of doing things. The eternal gospel has been the same from the beginning. It will be the same to the end. It is the gospel of the kingdom which is unchanging. It was given to Adam, it was given to the prophets, and it will be coming again now in the last days through the end time prophets again. The servants of the kingdom will bring about this gospel again, as prophesied in Revelations 14. It does not change. It was just hidden by the wicked, and our Father allowed it because his nation was scattered. Israel was in captivity. So there was no need for this gospel, because it is the gospel of the kingdom, of the children of the kingdom of Israel. They will take it to the Gentile nations. I hope this makes sense, family. So having established that, family, let us go to James and hear what the voice of our Father spoke about this woman being a hearer of the word and not a doer. We find this in the book of James, family. This is James 1 verse 22 to 25. Our Father spoke through James and says, "But be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. For if any be a hearer of the word, and not a doer, he is like unto a man beholding his natural face in a glass. For he beholdeth himself, and goeth his way, and straightway forgetteth what manner of man he was. For whoso looketh into the perfect law of liberty, and continueth therein, he being not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the word, this man shall be baraked in his deeds." This is very, very powerful, family. James is telling us, family, that there is no point in hearing the word of our Father and not putting it into action. You are deceiving yourself. That woman in my mother's dream, family, was deceiving herself, because she is telling herself that she's keeping the Shabbat, yet she is purposefully breaking what the Shabbat laws say about kindling a fire. She is hearing what our Father is saying, but she is not obeying. In past videos, family, the Spirit of our Father revealed that this is the era of the obedient, not those who are disobedient. The era of grace is over. It is obedience, hearing the word and then doing it. That is what is going to bring about your salvation. Not hearing the word and then turning a blind eye and cherry picking what you want to obey and what you do not want to obey. That is going to lead you to self-deception. You cannot choose what you want to obey and then leave this out and put that in and then say, this is as far as I'm willing to go. You might as well not even start if you know that you're not going to keep the entire law. That's why Emmanuel says, if you break one of the laws, you break them all. You might as well just go on and live your best life, family. I hope it all makes sense. So James is what our Father's voice spoke in my mother's vision, that the woman was a hearer of the word, not a doer of the word. I hope it all makes sense, family. Let us go then, family, now to Exodus to understand the Shabbat, its origin, and why we have to keep the Shabbat. It is all in Exodus, and we're going to read all the 10 commandments, family, because very seldom, family, do we even understand or read the 10 commandments and even follow them. We hear the 10 commandments, but we do not do them. And this is going to lead us to self-deception. So let us go to Exodus 20, family. We're going to read Exodus 20, 1 to 17. All the 10 commandments, obviously focusing on the Shabbat. So Exodus 20, we read the 10 commandments. And Adonai spake all these words, saying, I am who I am, thy Adonai, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other Adonai before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven images, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I am who I am, your Adonai, am a jealous Adonai, which visiteth the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, unto the 3rd and 4th generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me, and keep my commandments. To keep his commandments, family. We have to keep his commandments. There is no dispensation that is new that allows us to not keep the commandments which our Father has instructed us to keep. That is a deception of Christianity. The law is done away with. It is straight from the pits of Sheol. And family, The first thing our Father speaks about is idolatry. We are not to be idolizing anything or anyone at any point. All splendor, all dominion, all honor returns to our Father. I am who I am, the sovereign. I hope it all makes sense. Let us continue. Thou shalt not take the name of I am thy Adonai in vain, for I am will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Shabbat day to keep it holy. Family, remember, and we have been speaking on the channel a lot about remembrance, especially for the children of the kingdom. Here is one of the things that we have forgotten. It is the Shabbat. That is why we are struggling to hear the voice of our father, mother. It is because we are out of protocol, we are out of order. We have forgotten the Shabbat, which we were instructed to remember for all ages. The Shabbat, family, our Father says remember, not even as if, family, because our Father knows end from beginning. He is saying it as prophecy because he knew that we would forget it. Now we understand why he's saying remember the Shabbat. Very powerful, family. Our Father is unlike anything. I can't even put him into words, nor will we ever. He instructs and says remember, already knowing that we will forget the Shabbat and they will tell us different about it. So here we see, family, remember the Shabbat day to keep it holy, set apart, or kadosh. 6 days thou shalt labor and do all thy work, as our Father labored for 6 days. But the 7th day is the Shabbat day of I am who I am thy Adonai. In it thou shalt not do any work. Family, it is forbidden to do any form of work on the Shabbat day. You cannot do any work on the Shabbat day, family. And for this, family, our Father is bringing remembrance, a vision and a situation that I had while I was in China. I did not even plan to share this, but our Father does as he wills. While I was in China, I was teaching English, family, and I was due to work or supposed to work Mondays to Fridays. But all of a sudden, the school started wanting me to do demo classes for the students who were interested in joining the school. And they would start asking me to do these demo classes on Saturdays. And I would have to come in on Saturdays and do these demo classes because I couldn't actually even say no, because they are asking you to do this and they pay you extra for it, and to say no to it, you'd also just be frowned upon. So I did the demo classes, family, and in my spirit I was very vexed because I knew that I had only signed to work the Monday to Friday. But they would make all sorts of excuses to try and get me to do the Saturday demo class. So this happened a few times, family, and then our Father gave me a vision. And in this vision, it was like I was listening to a teacher. And I knew that this teacher was a teacher of the Most High. And I was so excited, and I was sitting there listening to the teacher. And as I was listening to the teacher, the principal of the school that I was working for came in and called me out and said, no, you have to come and help the children with the concerts. There's a concert coming up and we have to make sure that the children are prepared for the concert. So I had to leave this place, family, where I was listening to this teacher. And I was vexed in the dream because I was walking to the school to go and do what I had to do for this concert for the children. And in the vision, I immediately understood that our Father was saying that this work that I am doing is going to prohibit me from hearing his words. I hope it makes sense, family. I was sitting listening to a teacher of the Most High. excitedly so and eagerly so. As I was busy listening, the principal of the school came and told me that I have to leave immediately and go and deal with preparing a concert for the children, because the concert is upcoming and we have to make sure that the children are ready for the concert. And I left very vexed, walking back to fulfill this, what the principal had said about me having to prepare the kids for the concert. So our Father showed through that vision that this job, this work that you are doing, is going to prohibit you from hearing my word. You will not be able to hear the messages of the kingdom. You will not be able to hear me speaking. You will be disturbed always. And this our Father brought when the school started imposing me doing these demo classes on Saturday, because it was prohibiting me from keeping the Shabbat. I hope it makes sense, family. The Shabbat is sacred to our Father, holy and kadosh. You will not and you are not to do any work on the Shabbat. You will have to make a choice, family, because shortly after that, that is when I quit that job and returned home. Because I realized that this was not only me. Many jobs in teaching English require you to work on a Saturday at some point, at one point or another. You will be continually working on a Shabbat or on the Saturday. You cannot run away from it. And also bearing in mind, family, that the Asian culture is not a believing culture or even a Christian culture. They have no regard for your religion or your faith or beliefs. So, family, no work can be done on the Shabbat day. It is prohibited. You are to rest as our Father rested after 6 days of labor. We continue. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, even your servants, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. Family, not even the livestock that you have. Nothing in your household is to do any work. And what my mother once spoke, family, with regards to thy cattle, is even some multitude of your car, because cattle is also a mode of transport, or any livestock that you have, anything that brings you money, even the car that you have, anything that belongs to you, family. Everything must rest. There must be no movement whatsoever. I hope it makes sense, because your car is like your modern day cattle or horse. It is what brings in your income. So it must rest. It must also be at rest along with you. So I hope it all makes sense, family. This is what we are to do on the Shabbat. It is complete rest. Even the strangers that are within the gates. So those even who are not of the nation of Israel, if they have tied themselves to Israel, they are to keep the Shabbat exactly as we have been commanded as the nation of Israel. There is no difference. We continue, family. For in 6 days I am made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the 7th day. Wherefore I am baraked the Shabbat day and hallowed it. It is kadosh, family. So this is it. We are to keep the Shabbat, family. Have to keep the Shabbat. And here are the instructions on keeping it. We continue because, as I said, family, just to remind ourselves of all the commandments. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which I am, who I am, thy Adonai giveth thee. Very important, family, with this commandment, as I've shared in previous revelations. Honoring father and mother has a deeper meaning, because it means honoring I am who I am and the Holy Spirit, our mother. First, that is the hidden or veiled meaning of this. That's why it comes with a promise of blessing, that thy days may be long upon the land which I am, thy Adonai giveth thee. To honor I am who I am, our Father, and to honor the Holy Spirit, our Mother, will grant you long life. And again, on this earth, family, our fathers and mothers are a similitude of I am and the Holy Spirit. That's why we have fathers and mothers. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. The things on earth mirror the things in heaven. So we ought to respect our fathers and our mothers, family. Because if we fail to do so, we will not be able to respect I am who I am. How can you respect him if you can't respect your father and mother who are tangible, who are in front of you, who you see every single day? I am who I am is spirit, and the Holy Spirit is spirit. If you cannot respect your earthly parents, you will never be able to respect your heavenly ones. We continue, family. Thou shalt not kill, straightforward. Thou shalt not commit adultery. And this is even spiritual too, family. Spiritual adultery, which is serving other gods. And to kill, family, also is not necessarily to pick up a knife and to stab someone. You can kill someone in many ways. By our words. The tongue is the most dangerous of all organs. It is where wickedness sits, family. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. You can kill someone verbally without even killing them physically. You can destroy someone's spirit by the words that you say. I hope that makes sense. There are far deeper meanings to these commandments. To kill is not picking up a knife and unaliving someone. You can kill someone and not even know that you have murdered someone's soul because of the words that have come out of your mouth. We continue, family. Thou shalt not steal. To take anything, family, from anyone without their knowledge, you have stolen, even if it is just a sweet. If the person did not permit you to take something that belongs to them, you have stolen. What is yours is yours. What is someone else's is someone else's. You cannot take what is someone else's without their permission or understanding or their knowledge. No matter how minute you may think it is stealing. We continue, family. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. That is a very dangerous one, family, because we cannot speak what we do not know. So, especially, family, without evidence, you have to be sure of what you are speaking about your neighbor, that you have truth and that there are facts or witnesses behind it. We cannot just speak what we assume or think about people, because you will bear false witness. We continue. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his man servant, nor his maid servant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. So that one is the last one, family, which is to be covetous, or to covet what someone else has. This is easily rectified by being content. We have to be content with everything that our Father has given us and the situations that He has put us in. We need to stop looking to others and what they have and wanting what they have. Be content with what our Father has given you. And do not look further to what someone else has. So, family, that is where social media plays a big role as a tool of Satan to make you envious of other people's lives and what they have. So, the antidote to that is contentment, to be happy with what you have and not to look at other people and want what they have. That is a easy antidote to this last one, family. It is contentment. But as we always say, it is easier said than done. So very, very important, family, to realize that contentment is the antidote for this and a lot of other sins. So these are the 10 commandments, family. We are to always recite them and remember them because they remind us and they prick our conscience and they awaken our conscience too. But family, we are focusing on the Shabbat. It is imperative to keep the Shabbat. And to break any of these commandments is to lose your salvation. You cannot keep one and not the other. Let us continue on the Shabbat, family. Let us go to Exodus 31. It will be so easy for us to understand now more as we go deeper into the Shabbat. So Exodus 31, we're going to read 12 to 18. As our Father goes into depth and calls the Shabbat a sign, that is a very powerful word. The sign of the Shabbat. And I spake unto Moshe, saying, Speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily my Shabbat ye shall keep. For it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations. Family, not only then in that dispensation, throughout your generations, forever and ever, it is a sign. It is what separates you from all other people in this world. It is the sign of the Shabbat. That ye may know that I am Adonai, that doth sanctify you. Ye shall keep the Shabbat therefore, for it is kadosh unto you. Every one that defileth it shall surely be put to death. And family, we know that we have been living in the era of grace. So even us defiling the Shabbat has not led to us physically dying because of mercy. But spiritually, you are committing suicide. You may not physically die, but ultimately in the end, when your life ends, you will definitely die because you will not see eternal life, having been a Shabbat breaker. So our Father speaks in prophetic language. You are not instantly going to fall over and die, but you will lose your salvation, your eternity. As I said at the beginning of the video, through the Spirit of our Father, that the Shabbat is salvation tide, and you will understand this soon. Whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. We spoke about that. 6 days may work be done, but in the 7th is the Shabbat day of rest, kadosh unto I am. Whosoever doeth any work in the Shabbat day, he shall surely be put to death. So family, it's very important to understand that the Shabbat is not about you. It is kadosh unto I am who I am. It is a day in which you are focusing on Him. All your focus is on Him. You have had 6 days to do whatever you want and like. This is the day where you are sitting with Him, you are rejoicing with Him, you are meditating on Him. Your whole focus is revolved around Him. He is only asking for 1 out of 7 days, family. Is it that difficult for us to just honor or set apart the one day that our Father has sanctified to Himself? And it is not even necessarily for Him, family, in terms of rest, because our Father never tires. The rest that it's speaking about is Him, that He has stopped His work, not that He is tired. It is us who tire. The Shabbat is made for us to rest. He is thinking for us out of His infinite love. He is the one that designed our bodies. So He knows that this body can go 6 days with work. And if it is not going to rest for 1 day, it will burn out. He created the body, family. You cannot tell Him anything about it. He is the architecture of all things. So He knows that I have designed this body. At maximum, it can work 6 days without any failure. But if you're going to make this body work 7 days without rest, with non-stop work, it is going to burn out. You're going to incur medical problems. You're going to incur spiritual problems, mental problems, emotional problems. You're going to be like a car that is overworked, that is not going to start burning out. Its parts are going to start breaking, and you're going to have to go back to the mechanic. And our Father will tell you that that is why I have told you that only 6 days maximum you may work. The 7th, you have to rest. Our Father creates or has set all these laws, family, out of love for us. It is not because He is trying to be difficult. It is for our own benefit, our own good, our own health. I hope it makes sense, family. Wheresoever the children of Israel shall keep the Shabbat, to observe the Shabbat day throughout their generation, for a perpetual covenant. Family, the term perpetual means eternal. So those who are saying that the Shabbat is done away with, you are in for a high jump. You are dazed and confused, because perpetual means eternal, forever, everlasting. And you are going to see how the Shabbat is kept even in the next kingdom, in Zion, in the new earth, even in heaven, family. We have been greatly deceived. It is a perpetual covenant, a covenant without end. And here, family, our Father uses a very powerful word. He says, you need to observe the Shabbat day. And here, let us go to the internet to understand the term observe. The word observe is a verb that has four main meanings: to watch, to notice something, to obey a rule, to celebrate a holy day. As we know, holiday is just a spin on holy day, or to make a formal remark. And here, family, core meaning, I want us to focus on this one. Watch or notice, to look at something carefully or see a detail. Not to just, family, you have to observe. To follow a law, a rule, or custom. To honor a holiday, a religious or a religious event. So family, the Shabbat is to be carefully monitored. You need to ensure that you are doing everything correct on this day. It is a very kadosh or holy or set apart day. That's why our Father says observe. Observe, to watch, to study, to carefully monitor. So even your conduct, your behavior, you need to be very conscious of it on the Shabbat day. And Satan hates the Shabbat day. He tries to disturb it in every way possible. It is a high target day for him to try and cause you to fall or to stumble on this day. So that's why our Father says observe, because he knows that principalities of darkness are going to be fighting you when you are keeping this day. That's when a lot of people will be trying to vex your spirit, trying to do this, trying to do that. You have to overcome, because they are trying to keep you from not keeping the Shabbat in the correct way. You have to be joyous on the Shabbat day. It is a day of joy and thanksgiving. So Satan will try to be vexing your spirit on that day. That's why our Father says observe. Another thing to observe, family, it is in the book of Jubilees. I have not put it in this teaching, but if you would like, I could share it on the comments, in which our Father speaks about the killing of animals. You cannot kill any animal on the Shabbat day. No matter if it is a big tarantula and you are scared of spiders, you would rather leave the room and go elsewhere. You cannot kill any life on the Shabbat day. It is abominable. I hope it all makes sense, family. These are all things that our Father is dropping to help us to understand and how to keep the Shabbat perfectly. So no matter what animal you come across on the Shabbat day, if it is a fly, a mosquito, or whatever it is, you are just going to have to live in peace with that animal for the duration of the Shabbat. You cannot kill on the Shabbat, because it is a day Kadosh, set apart to our Father, and it is symbolic of creation of life, because it is the seventh day of rest. Our Father created life, so it cannot be that you are killing things on this day of rest after he has completed bringing life in heaven and on earth. So that, family, is in the book of Jubilees. Those who would love to observe that, you can find it in the book of Jubilees. I'm just not sure where. But as I'm saying, if you would like, I can put it in the comments section. You will let me know, beloved family. So the Shabbat is very deep, family. It has to be observed, and observed correctly so. So let us continue, family. We continue. Okay. Here on 31:17. It is a sign. Again, here is this word, a sign, family. between me and the children of Israel forever. Here is if you did not understand perpetual, our Father says it perfectly. It is a sign between him and the children of Israel forever. For in 6 days I am made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed. And he gave unto Moses, when he had made an end of communion with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tablets of testimony, the 10 commandments which we just read, tablets of stone written with the finger of Adonai. So here, family, we find better also on how to keep the Shabbat. It is a day of complete focus on our Father. Our conduct needs to be towards him in holiness and in righteousness. You do not do anything worldly. You do not, I family personally, we do not even stay on the internet unless I'm answering comments or something like that, or I'm trying to speak to certain brothers and sisters via email. But other than that, stay clear from technology, from phones or anything like that, family. Just have a day that is purely focused on him. You have 6 days to be focused on your gadgets and all this and social media and all these things that are already taking our time and wasting our time. So on this day, family, it is just a day in which you can sit down, read, meditate on our Father's word and reflect on it. And even if you must be on the internet, family, let it be something that is spiritually growing for you. You are watching videos that are growing your spirit, that are faith-based or that are spiritually growing you. So nothing must be idle, nothing must be worldly, nothing must be anything that is going to be a distraction or something that is of this world. It has to be all purely focused on him, spiritual, heavenly, on that day. I hope it makes sense, family. So let us go to Exodus 35 and we see further instructions on the Shabbat. Exodus 35, family, we are going there shortly. So Exodus 35, 1 to 3. It reads as follows. Shabbat emphasized. Family, when you put emphasis on something, it is trying to show the importance of that thing. It is being emphasized. Our Father is very serious about his Shabbat. Exodus 35, 1 to 3. And Moses gathered all the congregation of the children of Israel together, and said unto them, These are the words which I am hath commanded, that ye should do them. 6 days shall work be done, but on the 7th day they shall be to you an holy day, a Shabbat of rest to I am. Whosoever doeth work therein shall be put to death. How many times has our Father been saying this, family? There we go. This is where my mother's vision comes in to play. Ye shall kindle no fire throughout your habitation upon the Shabbat day. Anything, family, that is a fire, anything that is electrical, you are not to kindle a fire on the Shabbat day. We are not in the days of old where we use fires for everything. Our fire is electricity. And family, I want to also tell you a revelation that our Father gave to me with regards to this fire, which is called electricity. If you notice, the first 2 words of electricity, they are Al. And Al is a god. Electricity. Electricity. So family, this strange fire, this electricity, is what is ruling this world in this last age. That is why we cannot do anything without electricity. It is an Al, a fallen false god. So that is why it is imperative to not kindle this fire. You have 6 days, family. So on the 7th day, this Al, this false god, has to be put aside. And ultimately, family, we are not even to be doing anything with this electricity. But we all know, family, that our Father is still merciful for us for this time, the short time that is remaining. But there will be a time where we will be in times of difficulty, where we will not even have access to electricity and all these things that are supplied by this world. And it will be difficult, yes, but a blessing, because we will be completely removed from all these false gods and strongholds of this fallen matrix. Electricity, or electricity, it is an al. It is a false god. It is the strange fire that must not be kindled. As our Father said in the commandments, thou shalt not have any other I am before me. So do not have the strange fire on his Shabbat day, especially. So I hope that makes sense, family. Let us go to Numbers 15, and we're going to see the penalty again for the Shabbat. So this is Numbers 15, and we're going to read 32 to 36. Shabbat breaking punished. There is a great penalty for breaking the Shabbat, and it is death, family. We have read it. It has been repeated over and over again. And while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man that gathered sticks upon the Shabbat day. And they that found him gathering sticks brought him unto Moshe and Aaron, and unto all the congregation. And they put him inward, because it was not declared what should be done to him. And I am said unto Moshe, the man shall be surely put to death. All the congregation shall stone him with stones without the camp. And all the congregation brought him without the camp, and stoned him with stones, and he died as Adonai commanded Moses. So here is it, family, when our Father says, ye shall surely be put to death. It happened quite literally with this man, who is the Shabbat breaker. And our Father is using these as types and shadows. As I said previously, family, you may not physically die by not keeping the Shabbat or by violating the Shabbat, but this is what you are doing to yourself spiritually. It is spiritual suicide, which will lead to literal suicide, because you will not be able to enter the kingdom of heaven, or the kingdom to come, family, without keeping the Shabbat in this dispensation. The Shabbat has to be kept, and you will understand soon how it is salvation tied. There is a great penalty for violating the commandments of our Father, family, and it leads to spiritual death, and sometimes even physical death. I hope it all makes sense, family. And family, I will again give you another testimony, as our Father is bringing it to me with regards to the Shabbat when I was in Israel. And I remember, family, that I had gone out on a Shabbat with a friend, and we were on a scooter, a Lime scooter. I don't know how to explain those electrical scooters that you zoom with on the city. And family, I was out on the Shabbat knowing very well that I should not be. And we fell off that scooter and I broke my arm. And immediately, family, I knew very well why this had happened, because I was disobedient. Our Father is very, he is serious about his laws, his statutes, and his commandments, family. And all these things, family, I speak as testimonies. From the job in China, which was forcing me to work on Saturday, to this, where I was in Israel and violating the Shabbat, and I fell off the scooter. And family, the friend I was with was completely fine. It was just me who broke my arm. Our Father is not to be played with. When he says do not do something, he means it. And if you do not want to obey, then you will learn through the things you suffer. So I hope it all makes sense, family. The Shabbat day is a day of rest. It is not a day to be doing anything of your own. You have to rest on it or you will suffer consequences. Our Father, as I'm saying, through mercy, may not kill you or have anything done to you that of that fashion. But as I'm saying, you will have something happen to you where you get hurt, or spiritually you are also causing a lot of damage to yourself. So I hope it all makes sense, family. This is the penalty of the Shabbat. It is death, whether it be spiritual or physical, whether it be now or even in the future. When you pass from this world and try to enter into true life in the world to come, you will not be able to, and that's when you will seriously then perish. Because spiritual death is separation from our Father. You will not see the kingdom. Therefore, you will be dead. Let us go to Isaiah, family, and see the blessing also, or the barakah of keeping the Shabbat. This is Isaiah 58, 13, 14. It reads as follows: Keeping the Shabbat. If thou turn away thy foot from the Shabbat, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day. There we go, family. From doing thy pleasure on my holy day. You are not to do anything that gives you pleasure on the Shabbat day, family. As I was saying, it is our Father's day. You are to focus on Him. What gives you pleasure on this day, you are not to do. Anything that you enjoy doing on this day, you do not do it. You sacrifice doing that thing. You are not doing your own pleasure. You are focused on our Father and doing His pleasure on this day. You have 6 days to do all your pleasures. And then on the 7th day, it is our Father's time. You are doing His pleasures. So you are not to do any, family, whatever brings you pleasure, joy, happiness, or whatever you enjoy doing. If you are doing it on the Shabbat day, you are in violation. You must do what our Father requires on this day. It is a day focused on Him. And it is a very powerful day for spiritual revelation. I can speak this very, very as a witness, family. Very boldly so. The Shabbat day is a very powerful day, family, for spiritual revelation, focusing on our Father. Focus on Him. Read the scriptures. Read the text, read the extra books, read this, focus on all things. Even if you are seeking spiritual revelation or understanding, our Father's Spirit is very, very, very active on the Shabbat. To those who are keeping the Shabbat, you will get, family, you will garner shocking wisdom and understanding on this day. I can attest to this. You'll be so shocked with the revelation and understanding that comes when you obey the Shabbat as it should be kept. It comes with a powerful spiritual barakah. So do not do your own pleasure. Do our Father's pleasure on this day. I continue. If thou turn away thy foot from the Shabbat, from doing thy own pleasure on my Kadosh day, and call the Shabbat a delight, the holy of I am, honorable, and shall honor Him, not you, not doing thine own ways, which is what I was saying, family, nor finding thine own pleasure, nor speaking thine own words. This is what I was saying, family, about even our conduct. The things that you are saying and speaking cannot be worldly. You need to guard your tongue. You need to ensure that everything is revolving or is central around our Father. Nothing on the Shabbat day is about you, family. It is for you to rest and then to commune with our Father, because that's when His Spirit, our Mother, is with us, communing with us. That is when our Messiah Spirit is moving among us, teaching us and showing us things. The Sovereign is fully moving between those who are obedient on this day. I hope it makes sense, family. It's not a day to be doing your own things. Anything that gives you pleasure, anything that is of your own, even the words that you speak, you must ensure that you are speaking things that are aligned to our Father's will on this day. It is a very deep day. It says it here perfectly, family. Nor speaking thine own words. You are not to speak of your own. You need to ensure that what you are speaking is of our Father. Asking our Father's Spirit to guide your tongue and your lips on this day. It is highly imperative, or you can find yourself keeping the Shabbat but violating it through your words and what you are saying. And the topics that you're speaking are idle. So there we have it, family. Let us continue. So if you do all of this, here is the blessing or the barakah. Then shalt thou delight thyself in I am, and I will cause thee to ride upon the high places of the earth, and feed thee with the heritage of Jacob thy father. For the mouth of I am hath spoken it. And family, we know that this is speaking about a future promise for the world to come. That is the millennial kingdom, that is Zion. This is the earth that is being spoken about here, because we know, family, that this world is not our home. So in the kingdom to come, family, that is where you will see the children of the kingdom. They will be riding upon high places on the earth, and they shall be feeding on the heritage of Jacob their father. That's where the promises will kick in. And you will be seeing the children of the kingdom exalted in the next world, because they have kept the commandments of their Father in this life. It pays off, family, to be obedient to our Father in this life. You may not see the fruits of it until the next world to come, but you will be so happy that you listened in this life, family. Because in the next one that is to come, you will be riding in high places. I hope it all makes sense, family. So that is just more or less what I can give in terms of the Shabbat, family. There is so much to cover, as I'm saying. If there's any questions that you have also about certain things, you are more than welcome to ask. But obviously bearing in mind, family, that I cannot cover everything about the Shabbat because it is just a lot to cover. So just basically, family, the Shabbat is a day where you prepare everything the day before. You ensure that all things are done. You don't switch on anything on the Shabbat day that is electrical. You have your food already prepared. You are just focusing on our Father. You are meditating. You are enjoying the day with your Father and our Mother and the Son, the Messiah, our Savior. You are fully focused on the Sovereign. And obviously, family, you gather with other believers. It is a holy convocation. So you gather with other believers, with other brothers and sisters. That is what our Father wants, because where one or two are gathered in His name, that is where His Spirit is. It is a day that is fully focused on Him. You rest on that day, family. You sleep, you give restoration to your body. Your body has been working, your body has been thinking. It is a day for you to just rest and to meditate on Him. The Shabbat is to be kept. It is a covenant, a perpetual covenant, family. You feast on that day. So you prepare food, you enjoy, you eat, you laugh, you praise, you rejoice, you gather together, you rest, you do all things that are focused on Him, family. Because our Father loves when we assemble together and gather in His name. So I hope this all made sense, family. So family, let us go to the book of the Nazarene, and I just want us to understand things that are also misunderstood about the Shabbat. So here, book of the Nazarene, page 70, and we're going to read 8 and 9. It reads as follows. There are two laws, the law of men and the Torah of the Father who is in heaven. When I speak of the Torah, I do not mean the law of men. I am the light illuminating I am who I am's Torah, so men see it more clearly. And though I fulfill the Torah, I do not change it. We have already covered this, family, that Emmanuel did not come to change the Torah but to fulfill it. Never say this is right or that is wrong, but only this is right or wrong according to the Torah and in the light of Emmanuel, our Messiah. I bring new oil for the lamp of the Torah, for that within it is now impure, and the light produces too much obscuring smoke, because they have changed the laws of our Father and have replaced it with the law of men, family. So people have forgotten what our Father has said in his Torah and have replaced it with the law of men. This is why there is obscuring smoke in the Torah. Emmanuel came to rectify and to show certain things that had been changed by the Pharisees of the time, who were keeping a different law, which was not of our Father, but of their own design. For I am the Son of Man that bear the suffering of men, coming to fulfill their hopes, even as it has been foretold. Is it not said among the Jesseneth that the Son of Man is the perfected man, who will set the standard for those who wish to be true sons of Elohim? So this is important to understand, family, because we know that in the scriptures, especially in the New Testament, there was great misunderstanding on the Shabbat between Emmanuel and the Pharisees, which we are going to go into now. The Shabbat is to be enjoyed, family, even though you are to observe it carefully, but it is not to be a burden where you are scared to move and do anything because you are so scared of breaking the Shabbat. Fear the Most High and of course observe his day, but you are to rejoice and enjoy the day. There is much mercy now because of Emmanuel's sacrifice. But mercy is not to be taken for granted. It is not to be abused. So having said that, family, let us go to Mark. Let us go to Mark 2. Mark 2 verse 23 to 28. It reads as follows. Question on the Shabbat. And it came to pass that when he went through the cornfield on the Shabbat day, and his disciples began as they went to pluck the ears of corn, that the Pharisees said unto him, Behold, why do they on the Shabbat day that which is not lawful? And he said unto them, Have ye never read what David did when he had need, and was an hungered, or hungered, he and they that were with him? How he went into the house of I am in the days of Abiathar the high priest, and did eat the showbread, which is not lawful to eat, but for the priests, and gave also to them which were with him. And he said unto them, The Shabbat was made for man, and not man for the Shabbat. Therefore the Son of Man is Adonai also of the Shabbat. So this is a very, very powerful verse that was been very misunderstood, family. Emmanuel is showing the grace of Shabbat, and that we have misunderstood the Shabbat, because in the olden days, family, you would be stoned for doing anything on the Shabbat, as we have just read in the Old Testament. The penalty for Shabbat breaking is death. And here Emmanuel is saying that even David was doing things that seemed unlawful on the Shabbat day. But he then tells us, family, that the Son of Man is Adonai of the Shabbat, meaning not that the Shabbat is done away with, because this is how many people have understood this verse and misused it, and some on purpose to not keep the Shabbat. Emmanuel saying he is the Adonai of the Shabbat, meaning that he is the God or the Elohim of the Shabbat. He was there when it was being established, as we now know even from the previous video that he was there in creation. He was the one doing all things according to the instruction of the father and the mother with the daughter wisdom. So you cannot be telling him anything about the Shabbat. He is the Adonai of the Shabbat. He created the Shabbat. I hope it makes sense. He is over the Shabbat. He has been given power over the Shabbat by our Father. As I explained in the previous revelation, all power is given to Emmanuel. So he is not going to do anything that is contrary to the Shabbat. It is people who did not understand what was lawful and what was unlawful to do on the Shabbat. So him allowing the disciples to do all of this means that it is not unlawful. We have taken the Shabbat and what it meant, what you can and cannot do too far is what he's trying to say. And you're going to see this even with doing good deeds on the Shabbat, where people are even scared to do good things on the Shabbat because they are scared of breaking the Shabbat. You cannot not do good things, family. If you're doing something that is good, that is prospering the kingdom of our Father on the Shabbat, it is well to do so. So that's where Emmanuel comes in to add grace and mercy, but not to be abused. It has to further the kingdom's sake or the kingdom's agenda. It cannot be your own thing that you're doing or just wanting to go and do something and saying, oh no, there is mercy, there is grace. No, it has to be in alignment to the kingdom work. So this is what Emmanuel is telling the Pharisees, that you are not going to be able to tell me anything about the Shabbat because I am the Adonai of the Shabbat. I am the one that sets the rules and the regulations for it. It is you through the laws or the Torah of man, not the Torah of our Father, who have obscured the Torah of our Father and added unnecessary burdens and things to the Shabbat that were not at all part of the original instructions of the Shabbat. You have made the Shabbat look very burdensome when it is not. It is a day of rejoicing. You are to focus on our Father, you are to observe it, yes, but you can also do good deeds on it. I hope this all makes sense, family. So family, having established that, we can even see here as Emmanuel speaks about David doing things that look unlawful but are not. So let us go to Luke 6. Luke 6, and we're going to read 6 to 11. This is when Emmanuel was healing on the Shabbat. It reads, and it came to pass also on another Shabbat that he entered the synagogue and taught, and there was a man whose right hand was withered. And the scribes and Pharisees watched him, whether he would heal on the Shabbat day, that they might find an accusation against him. But he knew their thoughts, and said to the man which had the withered hand, rise up and stand forth in the midst. And he arose and stood forth. And Emmanuel said unto them, I will ask you one thing. Is it lawful on the Shabbat days to do good or to do evil, to save life or to destroy it? And they looked round about upon them all. He said unto the man, stretch forth thy hand. And he did so, and his hand was restored whole as the other. And they were filled with madness, and communed one with another what they might do to Emmanuel. So this is very, very scary, family. This is when the law is taken completely out of context, because even the doing of good deeds, instead of the Pharisees rejoicing and being happy and compassionate that this man has been healed, they cannot even see the goodness of our Father working on the Shabbat. That this man has been healed after years of struggling, after years of being in distress. Instead of rejoicing that he's being healed on the Shabbat day, the day of rest, this man is finally reaching his rest from all his persecutions and struggles and hardships and his sickness. They are not understanding that this is also part of the Shabbat. It is to heal. It is to end the hardships of people. That's why Emmanuel healed on the Shabbat so much, because he's bringing rest to the troubles of the people. So to do good on the Shabbat, to bring end to people's troubles, people's hardships, people's sicknesses, to do good works, to bring healing, to bring life, even through the words that we speak, that is good to do on the Shabbat, family. You are more than welcome to do all good works on the Shabbat, anything that furthers the kingdom of light. I hope it makes sense, family. You are not to do anything of your own, but what furthers the kingdom you are to do. The Pharisees were very confused because they were holding on to the letter of the law and not the spirit of the law, not understanding that, yes, you may not do work on the Shabbat day, but to do healing works, to alleviate the burdens of people, that is not the work that our Father is speaking about. That is good, because our Father brought life and rested on the Shabbat day. So therefore, on this day of rest, let us bring life to each other through our words and our deeds. That is why I was saying earlier, family, you cannot even kill life on the Shabbat day, because it is a day of bringing life, restoring life. That's why your body rests on this day, so that life can be restored to it. It is a day of life giving, not taking. I hope it all makes sense, family. Let us continue, family. Luke 14, 1 to 6. Luke 14, 1 to 6, family, reads as follows. Again, Emmanuel is healing on the Shabbat. And it came to pass, as he went into the house of one of the chief Pharisees to eat bread on the Shabbat day, that they watched him. And family, we're seeing here that they are watching Emmanuel for evil. They always were trying to find something to trip him up. And behold, there was a certain man before him which had dropsy. And Emmanuel answering spake unto the lawyers and Pharisees, saying, Is it lawful to heal on the Shabbat day? And they held their peace. And he took him and healed him and let him go. And answering them, saying, Which of you shall have a donkey or an ox fallen into a pit, and will not straightway pull him out on the Shabbat day? And they could not answer him again to these things. So family, it is also showing here good works on the Shabbat. And family, if an emergency happens, as Emmanuel is saying, if a donkey falls into, or your donkey falls into any danger, or your cattle or something of an emergency happens in your life, our Father is not cruel. You cannot get a phone call that your brother is in hospital, for example, and you're sitting there and saying, no, I'm keeping the Shabbat, I cannot come. No. It is an emergency, family. So here we are seeing mercy, that the Shabbat is to be kept as our Father has shown in earlier parts of the videos in the Old Testament. But that's why Emmanuel brings mercy. He is the spirit of the law. He is not the letter of the law. That is why I was saying, family, that even when I broke the Shabbat when I was in Israel, I did not die, but our Father gave me an injury, because according to penalty, I was supposed to die. That is what is instructed or commanded in the word of our Father. But mercy triumphed over judgment. Our Father gave me a strong reprimand in which my arm was broken. So this is mercy that is triumphing over judgment. I hope it all makes sense, family. We are to keep the Shabbat as our Father has instructed us, but we are to remember mercy that came. Good works are to be done. When things are it's an emergency, you are seeing walking down the street on the Shabbat, maybe taking a short walk, and you see someone fall and get hurt. You cannot pass that person and say, oh no, I am on the Shabbat, I cannot take them to the hospital. You are to help. You are to do good deeds, good works on the Shabbat. When Emmanuel says you have to love your neighbor as yourself, it is one of the ultimate commandments after loving our Father. I hope it all makes sense, family. So if emergencies happen, family, our Father knows and understands. You are to help. You cannot sit there and see people in danger, people getting hurt and all sorts of things and saying that, oh no, it is the Shabbat, I cannot do anything. That is a hard heart. That is exactly what these Pharisees are showing. They are not happy and rejoicing that people are being healed and good works are being done. Instead, they are focusing on, no, the law says this. It is the letter of the law versus the spirit of the law. Compassion and love are superior to all things, because that is not what our Father was intending anyway. That's why Emmanuel is coming to show them how the Shabbat is to be kept with love and compassion, how all the commandments are here to be kept with love and compassion. Our Father did not bring these commandments to stifle us or to make us feel chained or anything, family. It is for our own good. It is out of love. I hope it all makes sense. So having established that, family, we have read the mercy that is shown here through Emmanuel. On the Shabbat day he heals, and he asked them, even the very Pharisees who are trying to condemn him, that if anything happens to their livestock on the Shabbat day, they will still go and do anything they can to help their ox that has fallen or anything of that nature. So here it is showing, family, the separation between the letter of the law and the spirit of the law, and the Pharisees and their hypocrisy. Because when things are beneficial for them, they are changing and switching up the law. But when Emmanuel is healing, which is something great, to be helping someone who has been in spiritual distress, physical distress, any form of distress, by healing them, they are angry with him for doing so. This is diabolical, family. It is very wicked. So I hope it all makes sense, family. So having established that, let us go to the Gospel of the Holy 12. And you're going to understand now, family, why I was saying that without keeping the Shabbat, there is no salvation for us. And here you will see the testimony that I shared also when I was in China about working on the Shabbat, and the vision our Father gave to show me that I cannot be serving the job that I have and him at the same time. One will fail. Gospel of the Holy 12, page 59, and we're going to read from 6, family. It reads as follows. And I say unto you, except ye fast from the world and its evil ways, ye shall in no wise find the kingdom. And he continues, and except ye keep the Shabbat and cease your haste to gather riches. This is what is the biggest problem for a lot of us. We are working endlessly because we are on a treadmill or a rat race trying to achieve riches. He says, and except ye keep the Shabbat and cease your haste to gather riches, ye shall not see the Father, Mother in heaven. But thou, when thou fastest, anoint thy head and wash thy face, that thou appear not unto men to fast. And the Holy One who sees in secret will approve thee openly. So here, family, we are seeing plain straight and without any shadow of doubt. Emmanuel says, if you do not keep the Shabbat, you will not see the Father, Mother. You will not see the kingdom of heaven. You are deceiving yourself. If you do not fast from the things of this world, all the love of this world is the things that have nothing to do with our Father. If you do not keep the Shabbat, you will not see the Father, Mother. You will not inherit the kingdom. You are deceiving yourself. The Shabbat is tied to salvation. You have to be obedient to it. Our Father commanded it. Therefore, it has to be kept. Without keeping the Shabbat, you will not see the coming kingdom. You will not see the Father, Mother. As we read previously, family, to keep the Shabbat has a barakah. That's when the children of the kingdom will be riding in high places because they kept the Shabbat. They kept the instruction of their father. I hope it makes sense. Emmanuel states it clear here in the Gospel of the Holy 12 family. You are not going to see the Father, Mother. You will not see the kingdom to come without keeping the Shabbat. It is imperative for salvation. Let us go to Isaiah 66 family to understand that the Shabbat is not just kept here on earth, it will be kept in the kingdom to come. So Isaiah 66, Isaiah 66 family, verse 22 to 23. It reads as follows: For as the new heavens and the new earth, which I will make, shall remain before me, saith I am, so shall your seed and your name remain. And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, here is a feast or festival. So the feasts and festivals will be kept in the coming kingdom. And from one Shabbat to another, they will be kept perpetually or forever. It is a perpetual covenant. Shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith I am. And we know this family because it is not only Israel who will be keeping the laws of our Father, but the Gentiles who will be in the kingdom too. All flesh. So here, family, our Father speaks explicitly about the new earth and the new heaven. This is Zion. This is where we are going. Should we live this life well, we will be birthed into the new earth, into the new heavens, which is in Zion, in the millennial reign. He says explicitly, family, that new moons will be kept and Shabbats will be kept. And Shabbat is also another way, family, of saying feasts, because feasts are times of rest. The Shabbat and the feast will be kept perpetually. The weekly Shabbat and all the feasts, tabernacles, Passover, Day of Atonement, Pesach, you name them, family, all of them, Feast of Dedication, all the feasts are going to be kept. Purim, you name them. So I hope this makes sense, family. We have been deceived if we're thinking that we're going to enter the kingdom or stay in the kingdom or make it there without keeping the Shabbat. It will be kept even in the world that is to come. So therefore, why are we not keeping the Shabbat in this world? And this is very important, family, because I have said in previous revelations through the Spirit of our Father that here on this earth we are on trial. It is practice for the coming kingdom. What you are in this world is what you will be in the kingdom to come. That's why you have to practice the kingdom here on earth already, because you will be in the kingdom and we are all keeping Shabbat, and you are there busy going about opening your shop and trying to do things or going and doing whatever it is we'll be doing in the kingdom. You are out there farming, you are out there doing everything, and everyone in the kingdom is shocked looking at you, because what are you doing working on the Shabbat? You'll be out of protocol. Everyone in the kingdom is coming to worship the Father, and you are going and doing your own work. You will be kicked out of the kingdom, family. You are out of alignment with our Father's will. You are out of protocol. You are out of order. That's why we have to practice the kingdom here on this earth, in this false matrix, so that when we enter into true or real life, then we are not shocked. We are just going to easily blend into the methods and the ways of the kingdom and the life in the kingdom. That's why we are here, family. Our Father's will has to be done on earth as it is in heaven. We are mirroring the things of the heavens here on earth. So let us go to Matthew 27, which is very, very powerful for the final wrap up on the Shabbat, family, before we move to the law and the prophets. So Matthew 27 reads as follows. Matthew 27:45 to 47. When Emmanuel was on the cross, a very powerful mystery is veiled here. It reads as follows. From the 6th hour there was darkness over all the land unto the 9th hour. And about the 9th hour Emmanuel cried with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani, that is to say, my Adonai, why hast thou forsaken me? Some of them that stood there when they heard that said, This man calleth for Elias. This is a very important and powerful chapter and verse to understand, family. Here it says that Emmanuel said, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani, and they tell you that it means, my Adonai, why hast thou forsaken me? Family, we have spoken already on this channel about the lying pen of the scribes. Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani makes perfect sense even up to this day in the Bantu tongue. I understand that passage even now reading it, family. It is Xhosa. It is one of the Bantu languages. And it does not mean, my Adonai, why hast thou forsaken me? It means this is for those who keep the Shabbat. Meaning that the entire sacrifice of Emmanuel is for the Shabbattanis, or for Israel, those who keep the Shabbat, who have been given to keep and observe and guard the Shabbat. Our Father is powerful. This is why, family, when people are trying to tell you that the scriptures are an African or a Bantu book, and a lot of people are fighting, it is just to their own detriment, because this does not mean what they are telling you it means, and it still is relevant to this day. Our Father is powerful. Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani means this is for those who will keep the Shabbat. This entire sacrifice is for the Shabbat keepers. And we know that the Gentiles who are righteous, who will be grafted in and keep the Shabbat, will also be grafted into this covenant. So the Shabbat, family, is the last thing that Emmanuel said on the cross, saying that I am doing all of this entire sacrifice is for those who will keep the Shabbat. How important do you think the Shabbat is if you are thinking you're going to enter the kingdom without it? That's why he said in the Gospel of the Holy 12, you will not see the Mother Father without keeping the Shabbat, because all of this is for the Shabbattanis. It's for the Shabbat keepers. It is for Israel. I hope it all makes sense, family. And family, let us also look at something here to show the further confusion. And it says here, some of them that stood there when they heard that said, This man calleth Elias. Family, we can see clearly here that they did not understand what Emmanuel was saying, because some are saying that he was calling Elijah, and in here it is saying that he's saying that I am, why have you forsaken me? Emmanuel spoke in a language that they did not understand, which was foreign to them. And yet they are telling you the interpretation of this language. And we are seeing that there's clear confusion even after this, after the interpretation of it. That some are even saying that he was calling Elijah. There is much deception, family, and much things that have been changed. Our Father has already revealed this. So I hope that you understand this, family. Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani means this is for the Shabbat keepers. There was great confusion with what Emmanuel said, because he was being heard by people who were not of his tongue. Some said he was saying, why have you forsaken me? And in the very next verse, some are saying he's calling Elijah. I hope it makes sense for those with ears to hear. The scriptures fell into the hands of the heathen, and they changed and switched it up as they saw fitting. We continue, family. So that is the law. That is the Shabbat. And now, family, on the same topic, we're going to focus on the law and the prophets, because the Shabbat and the keeping of the law or Torah is all the law and the prophets. But I want to focus on the law and the prophets because, as I have said, family, the next video that we're going into is the bride of Messiah. And it is extremely imperative to understand the law and the prophets. And before we do that, family, I'm going to share a vision that I hope is going to help you to understand what I am trying to say. I titled the vision, Rejecting the Prophets of Old. It's about a few months ago or a year ago when I had this vision now. I wrote, the dream began with myself and Alda walking into a KFC, like a fast food joint building. Alda reminded me of a cool dystopian type preacher or hunter with the way he was dressed and behaved. He looked like those demon hunters in movies, family. He just looked like it was just a very cool look that he had on, like he was a demon slayer. When he got to the counter, instead of ordering food, Alda instead opened up a huge Bible and started showing the lady behind the counter scriptures in the New Testament. However, suddenly Alda moved to the Old Testament and said, "What about the prophets? Have you read them?" He held up the Bible, paging through all the prophets. Suddenly I intervened and said, "But Alda, she does not believe in the prophets." Suddenly Alda's demeanor changed from being warm and inviting to being stoic. He shut the Bible and turned around to leave immediately. I followed him out, and the vision ended, family. So, family, this is a straightforward warning. If you do not believe in the law and the prophets or the testimony, the Old Testament, you are doomed. That is why people are telling you the Shabbat is done away with. That is why people are refusing to keep the Shabbat, not understanding that Emmanuel did not come to do away with the law and the prophets, as we have read. He came to fulfill. That's why in the vision, Alda did not even bother to entertain the woman anymore behind the counter, who he was speaking the word to. Because after I had said she does not believe in the prophets, his expression changed immediately. He was no longer friendly. He shut the book and he walked out without saying another word. Because it is impossible to understand the end time gospel without the law and the prophets. That's why the church has given out Bibles that only have the New Testament and have told you to focus on it only. Or even if you have the Old Testament, they will discourage you from even focusing on it entirely and will tell you to focus on the New Testament. That's how you will not keep the Shabbat. That's how you will believe that the Shabbat is done away with. That's why you will keep believing that all the commandments of our Father are no longer relevant. As in my mom's dream, where the woman said that this is a new dispensation because you have rejected the law and the prophets. You will be misled. The law and the prophets are a foundation. They are a standard. They are an anchor. So you do not go too far off without them. They will always anchor you back, even when evil tries to deceive you by bringing things that are contrary. I hope it makes sense, family. Without the law and the prophets, you are very lost. That's what this vision was showing. So having established that, family, let us go to Isaiah 8. Isaiah 8, which we have cited several times. Isaiah 8, family, 19-20 reads, And when they shall say unto you, seek unto them that have familiar spirits, and unto wizards that peep and that mutter, should not a people seek unto their Adonai for the living to the dead, to the law and the testimony? If they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. So family, those who are telling you to search for information or anything through divination, who are wizards that peep or that mutter or familiar spirits, that is all divination, that is all darkness. People can get information, family, but the problem is the source of that information. If it is not the law and the prophets, it is divination, it is from darkness. If they do not speak of the law and the prophets, it is because there is no light in them. The law, family, and the testimony, or the law and the prophets, they are the ones testifying to the law and the prophets. I hope it makes sense, family. So we have to ensure that we are very well versed in the Old Testament. It is the foundation for understanding the New. You cannot be based on the New Testament and have no understanding of the Old Testament. That's why so many people do not understand the gospel of the bride, the end time gospel at all, because our Father has spoken the end from the beginning. It begins where it ends in Genesis and goes all the way back to Revelation. You need from Genesis to Revelation and the extra books too. I hope it makes sense, family. So it is very important to have that foundation as we're about to go into the bride, because you're going to see that the testimony or the law and the prophets all have been prophesying about the daughter too, the bride too. She is in prophecy veiled until this time. So if you do not have understanding of the law and the prophets, there is no way you are going to understand this last dispensation, these end times. You are going to fall for all sorts of deceptions that are about to come on the scene. So let us establish and be sure of this, family. Please understand that you are going to be committing literal spiritual calamity to yourself, family, to not understand the law and the prophets, especially as we are going forward. So if you know, family, that you are not well versed in the Old Testament, especially the law and the prophets, please take time to reacquaint yourself to this and read and understand, because you're going to see how many veiled things are there in the Old Testament about this end time. So let us go to I just want us to read second Esdras, and something very powerful is said here. Second Esdras 7:20 reads as follows: For there be many that perish in this life, because they despise the law of I am that is set before them. Please, family, read that several times and meditate on it. That's why a lot of people are going to perish even in these last days, because they are not going to understand the gospel of the bride, because they have refused the Torah, and the Torah is the mother. We have already established this to the Spirit of our Father. So you are not going to be able to understand the daughter when you have refused the mother. The law and the prophets are essential to understanding these last days. Without understanding them, you are dazed and confused, and you will fall under the category of the prophecy of Ezra, that for there be many that perish in this life, because they despise the law of Adonai and that is set before them. All the law and the prophets have been given for us to not be lost. They are anchors, family, that will hold us no matter what deception Satan tries to throw our way. The law and the prophets will dispel it. It is a shield That's why in the vision, Alda did not even bother to continue speaking to the woman who I said in the vision did not believe in the prophets. It is no point. The Old Testament is the foundation for the New, the law and the prophets. The New Testament saints are walking on the foundation of all the patriarchs and the prophets of old. They are not walking on air. That's what you are seeing or portraying in the spirit if you are someone who's only focused on the New Testament. That's why you'll be easily deceived, because you are walking on air without a foundation. I hope it makes sense, family. So, family, having said that, as I've said, the main thing that I'm stressing about this is because of the gospel of the bride, which we're about to begin on. Please, and also, family, this is also another deception that happens when you do not have the law and the prophets, because you will start to believe such doctrines such as Moses was a false Messiah. This is also a very popular doctrine that I have heard, that Moses was a false Messiah and the law that he got was from a false God, the angry God of the Old Testament, and all of this. And you'll also be believing such teachings such as Paul is a false apostle and everything, not understanding that all Paul is speaking about the Old Testament. It is just that he is not eloquent. And because you lack understanding in him, you will call him a false prophet. It is because there is no foundation in the law and the prophets. I hope it makes sense, family. You'll be villainizing the messengers of the kingdom, and in turn, you'll be blaspheming the Holy Spirit, our mother. We have to be very, very careful. Moses is a servant of the Most High, for those who have ever been confused, and so is Paul. Paul is a purposeful stumbling block to those who do not understand and who lack understanding, family. Those who are using earthly wisdom to decipher and to decode his messages or his words, who are not relying on the Spirit. I hope this makes sense, family. Let us go to 1 Corinthians so you can understand what I am saying. This is what happens if you are not established in the foundation of the law and the prophets. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 1:23 to 25. It reads as follows: But we preach Emmanuel crucified, unto the Jews a stumbling block, and unto the Greeks foolishness. But unto them which are called, both Jews and Greeks, Messiah, the power of Adonai and wisdom of Adonai, because the foolishness of Adonai is wiser than men, and the weakness of I am is stronger than men. So, family, we are seeing here the servants of the kingdom. Emmanuel, our Messiah himself, was a purposeful stumbling block. I have said this in previous revelations, even as warning about the end time servants of the kingdom. They are not going to be what you want them to be. The 144,000 are going to be very unorthodox and very outlandish to some people. They will be purposeful stumbling blocks. The pattern will repeat. Those who are looking with the eyes of flesh will be judging, not understanding what you are judging. It is all prophesied. The same way Messiah was a stumbling block, the 144,000 who carry his spirit will be a stumbling block too, to those who do not have eyes of the spirit and ears to hear. So this is what happened with poor Paul. because people are not understanding him and they have taken him so out of context and villainized him. The same way they have villainized Moses, the same way they will villainize all the prophets. It is lack of understanding, lack of full understanding of the law and the prophets, and asking our Father Spirit to guide you on this narrow road. So the things of the Father are stumbling blocks and even foolishness to those family who are perishing. That's why they will not hear this gospel, because they will be telling you that you are foolish and you are lost and you are X, Y, and Z. I hope it makes sense, family. So let us go to Revelation to understand the importance of the law and the prophets. And that, family, they do not go out of style, nor is there ever a time for a dispensation where the law or the prophets are ever done away with. We're going to read Revelations 15, 1 to 3, the scene in heaven. And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, for in them is filled up the wrath of I am. And I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of Adonai. And they sang the song of Moses, the servant of I am, and the song of the Lamb, saying, Great and marvelous are thy works. I am who I am, Adonai Almighty. Just and true are thy ways, thou King of the saints. Family, the servant, Moses, the servant of I am. The law and the prophets are going to be relevant until the end. Even in Revelation, Moses is exalted as a servant of the Most High. And we know Moses is the holder or the bringer of the Torah. To show the relevance of the Torah until the end of days. So the law and the prophets will remain relevant until the end of days. That's why Emmanuel said that if you love me, keep my commandments. And we know that Emmanuel is the Adonai of the Old Testament too. So the very laws that were given to Moses were given to him by Emmanuel. That's why he is the servant of Adonai. Everything is tying up to a final showdown, family. You have to understand everything. You have to have full understanding of Old and New Testament, not being lopsided like a crab, walking on one side and not having the other. Moses is celebrated even in the end. He is the servant of our Father because he brought the law and the prophets. He is a prophet himself. So I hope this makes sense, family. For those who may think that the law and the prophets are relevant only for the Old Testament, no. Here in the book of Revelation, Moses is being exalted, greatly so. Let us continue, family. Let us go to Mark 10. Mark 10. And we're going to read 1 to 3. And here, family, we're establishing that the law and the prophets will never go out of style. They will forever be relevant. It reads, And he arose from thence, and cometh into the coast of Judea by the farther side of Jordan, and the people resort unto him again. And as he wont, he taught them again. And the Pharisees came to him and asked him, Is it lawful for a man to put away his wife? Tempting him. And he answered them and said unto them, What did Moses command you? The law and the prophets. Emmanuel did not come to abolish the law and the prophets. The first thing he asked the Pharisee is, What have you already been told by Moses? I hope you are seeing, family. The New Testament is based on the Old Testament. It is the foundation. Even Messiah is referring you right back to Moses, to the Old Testament, to the law and the prophets. That's why he said, I did not come to abolish the law and the prophets, but to fulfill them. Sorry, family, something in my eye. So here, family, we're seeing perfectly, even when Messiah is questioned, he's sending you back to the law and the prophet. That is Moses and all the prophets of old. Everything, family, our Father's law will never not be relevant. It will stay relevant until the end, as we saw in the book of Revelation, Moses being exalted. Even when Emmanuel is being questioned, he is referencing the law and the prophets. Let us go to Acts Acts 10, family. This is the last place where we will go to establish everything, family. So Acts 10, 41 to 43. It reads as follows. Not all the people, but unto witness, not to all the people, but unto witnesses chosen before of Adonai, even to us, who did eat and drink with him after he rose from the dead. So family, it's very important to understand, as we always say, this gospel is not for everyone. It is not for all people. It is for the witnesses who are chosen by I am, and those who have eaten and drunk with him after he arose from the dead. And he commanded us to preach unto the people, and to testify that it is he which was ordained of I am who I am, to be the judge of quick and dead. And here is the powerful part, 43. To him give all the prophets witness, that through his name whosoever believeth in him shall receive remission of sin. So family, here you are seeing point blank and period. All the prophets give witness of Emmanuel. This is what I was saying in the previous video, when we were speaking about Emmanuel being the Adonai of the Old Testament. All the prophets have been prophesying about him, the coming son of I am, who is our Savior. So how are you going to worship Emmanuel and say he is your Savior, when you are refusing all the messengers who were sent by him to testify of his coming? The law and the prophets are not, family, there is no salvation without understanding the law and the prophets. Point blank, period. You will be lost and confused. You will be lawless, because that is exactly what people who refuse the law and the prophets are. They are lawless. They will tell you all sorts of scary things about the end, and that the law is done away with. All they have to do is just accept the name of Jesus and live their life in sin, and they are going to somehow go to the kingdom and be raptured next week. Without the law and the prophets, you are going to be lost, dazed and confused, and you are not going to see the kingdom. That's why the Shabbat is in those laws and prophets. The commandments are in those laws and prophets. All the prophets testified of Emmanuel. He is the fulfillment of all the law and the prophets. So I hope this video has all made sense, family, for your understanding. Very, very imperative, family. Please, please, please understand it very well and thorough, because it is going to be imperative for understanding the coming revelations. As I said, we are going into the bride and the man-child also we will get to. It is not going to be easy for those who do not have understanding of the law and the prophets. But if you are willing to learn, family, you will be just fine. Because I know that some of the prophecies are very difficult, and some of the scriptural language is not easy for understanding. But once our Father's Spirit starts to awaken or to show us these things, they are just there in plain sight for us to understand. So I hope that this has helped, family, in understanding the Shabbat and the law and the prophets. So family, if there are any questions going further, you are more than welcome to ask questions. So until we meet again, beloved family, I am sending all my love to you, to the four corners of the earth, and hoping that our Father, our King, helps you to understand this revelation through His Spirit of Truth, our Mother. So family, shalom, shalom, shalom. I am sending all of my love to each and every one of you. Until we meet again, shalom.